The 2021-2022 concert season marks the 70th anniversary of the Valley Symphony Orchestra. As the VSO looks towards the future of symphonic music in the Rio Grande Valley, we also look to our past and the stories and histories that have brought us to this moment. In this special commemorative podcast series, we'll hear from the musicians, community members, and organizational leaders who have not only helped build the VSO, but continue to nurture orchestral music in the Valley to this day. It's a story full of challenges met, hopes and dreams made real, and of course, beautiful music. So come along with us as we celebrate 70 years of the Valley Symphony Orchestra. When the COVID-19 pandemic came to our door, the entire world came to a grinding halt. Arts and public performances were hit particularly hard, and the VSO was confronted with a challenge they had never faced before. How does a performing arts organization persevere when live performance is no longer possible? Today, we'll hear how these difficult decisions were made and how the VSO was able to persevere and turn one of its most difficult moments into one of its finest hours. So join us as we discuss the COVID year.
My name is Katie Coy, and I am the executive director of the Valley Symphony Orchestra. We were growing, people were coming, we had momentum, the board was just out in the community championing us. There were new people coming through the door. And then COVID hit and we had to rethink everything. And so I say, we built the sandcastle and then the tide came in.
My name is Michelle Crane, and I am the president this year for the Valley Symphony Orchestra. So I was actually the chairperson for the task force committee, and it was in this actual room where we had a meeting in June with Phil, the president, with Katie, and a few other board members where we had to decide, what are we going to do?
My name is Harry Urie. I am currently the vice president of the Valley Symphony Orchestra. Once all the news was coming out about the infection rate just going through the roof, I believe it was probably spring break last year, we just decided that it wasn't in the best interest for the community to try to do live performances. As much as we love music, we love each other more.
It was scary. We had our budget in front of us. We had no income coming in, very few sponsorships, but we decided collectively as a team that the music has to go on.
After it became clear that the 2020-2021 season would not be business as usual, the gravity of that decision gradually came into focus, as explained by VSO maestro Dr. Peter Dabrowski.
It's a very difficult time for all performance, all musicians. All of a sudden, live arts stop. So I thought, maybe with strings, maybe with percussion, maybe with keyboard instruments. But gradually, we went from not able to use chorale, different section of the orchestra. We finally end up not having enough musicians being able to be on the same stage at the same time. And of course, the fact that the audience was not participating, we really scaled down, adjusting to the situation, and it was a sad moment, realizing that each program I came hoping that it will come to its fruition was not going to happen.
The moment I think that it really sunk in for me, on the heart level, was when I wrote the budget. And the day that I presented the budget to the staff and said, here's what we're going to have to do in order to make it through. Here's the worst case scenario. Here's the best case scenario. That was the moment that I was like, we're in for a fight.
Well, I was afraid that we wouldn't have the money to continue. My name is Suzanne Mcdonald, and I am a board member currently with the VSO, because how can you ask people to support something that isn't going to be, they're not going to be able to attend? I would say a third of our budget is from ticket sales. And so if there's no ticket sales, how are you going to continue.
In the worst case, we wouldn't make it. And there were arts organizations that didn't. In the worst case, we would not find a way to solicit support, to earn revenue, to perform, and we would not be able to go forward. You want to keep providing that thing that the community has come to know you for. If you don't do that, it's very hard for them to continue to be with you. I remember running the numbers with our board president at the time. Luckily, he was a budget guy and a numbers guy, and he really understood, how we had to approach this. And so we ran the numbers of, what would happen if we just did nothing versus what would happen if we, didn't start performing until the winter versus, what would happen if we, performed in some sort of digital manner, And we did sort of the comparisons, and there were a couple board meetings, and, we finally decided to go with this model of offering concerts online.
To us, it was a way to pay it forward, to say thank you for all these years that you've been there for us. Now we want to give to you, in this time of sadness and feeling like you're isolated from others. We need music, and we thought, what better way to offer our patrons a little bit of peace by offering free online concerts. And I was proud of what we did. We offered various concerts, streaming, and we did education concerts as well, streaming for children. So children could still partake in education concerts. And it was a time when the United States was evolving to a virtual environment, and we had to adapt. And looking back, I'm glad we did what we did.
There are those moments where you have to go against what would conventionally be done. A lot of orchestras charged for this, right? Like they put their concerts up online and they charged for a streaming link or something like that. And we sort of made a outlier decision to not do that. We didn't charge for our concerts. We went to our community and we said, we find ourselves in an unprecedented time and we want to continue to serve and we want to be a light in a time where people really need it, and we want your support to do it. And our community did not fail us. They came out in such a strong way. I was really grateful that the maestro and the board all were on the same page as well, and that we were able to do something so special for the whole community.
We'll now take a moment to enjoy a performance from one of the concerts streamed online by the VSO. This is Schumann's Piano Quintet in E-flat major, Opus 44, performed by the VSO and conducted by Dr. Peter Dabrowski.
The VSO managed to weather the 2020-21 season and close basically on a break even. None of the worst case scenario things came to pass. We reached and served so many more people than we would have in the concert hall alone. We were not bound by the number of seats in the McAllen Performing Arts Center. When you put a concert online or on television, all of a sudden as many eyeballs as can see it. And so we ended up reaching around 90,000 people, and in a typical year that would be closer to 20.
I think we made some pretty good decisions by doing the tape video concerts and offering them to the public free of charge. And our patrons were very generous in continuing to support us.
I can't thank our patrons enough for what they do, because for 70 years, our concerts remain strong, and we're just in a phenomenal place. And I am so excited to be on the board to really take the symphony to the next level.
We were able to do it, you know? Arts people are scrappy. We always find a way. You're always trying to do a little more with a little less so that you can do a little more tomorrow, you know? I was very committed to getting back to live performance as soon as it was safe. It is the heartbeat, the heart and soul of what we do, and I just didn't want to go one day longer than we had to without performing live. So when it came time for the gala, things were looking good, and we were ready to get people back together, and we wanted to stay safe. So we decided to do the gala in our artistic home and do this big event on 3 floors. I mean, it was much more complex than something we've ever done before.
Yeah, no, it was great to have everybody together in the facility where we perform, kind of celebrating a night of symphony, having dinner together before, being able to converse and then go enjoy a nice live performance it was really great. Everybody, I only had positive feedback.
I had never been to one that people were so excited. And it was the first time many of us had been out in a large group. Just hearing that concert on stage, it was wonderful. It was a smaller orchestra, but it was beautiful, beautiful music.
Perhaps that was the most important concert of the last 20 years. That was very special. I think it was very long-awaited moment, and by musicians, by me, by audience, what a wonderful experience we have, how much we cherish and we love what we have, and how fragile it is, and how important it is to do absolutely everything one can to sustain it, to make it thrive, to share it with everybody in the world.
I think another thing that we're finding is that COVID has almost given us permission to throw out the old, which you don't want to do across the board, right? There's a lot that you want to continue. There's a lot about classical music and symphonies that's about tradition and timelessness, and you want to definitely hold on to that. But there's a lot of room, we have learned, to reinvent.
We're excited what the future holds for the VSO. You know, we reached more people virtually than we did in some of our concerts. And that's, again, if you go back to what we want moving forward, is we want to expand, we want to reach others. And so that's still a continuing talk, is how can we incorporate these virtual concerts?
With our social media project last year being on Facebook, you know, you get a lot of data as it relates to demographics, who's engaging with your content. And we were really blown away and encouraged by the median age of the folks engaging with our content. It was much lower than we anticipated. So that kind of told us, hey, this is something we probably need to invest more in, because the folks that we're trying to get to, this is where they're at. They're on social media now. So we've decided that even though we're going back to live performances this year, we're also going to keep that streaming component going as well, because it just allows for greater reach. And we also don't want admission to the impact to become a barrier to entry. You know, we believe that everybody should be exposed to classic symphonic music. The arts are universal and they're good for everybody, so why would we restrict it?
What happened last year and this year truly makes us realize that we cannot take anything for granted. So from the history, thinking that each concert might be the last one because of different things, the urgency of today only underlines the fact how important are these concerts, how known is the world we live in. Therefore, direction is very much the same, perhaps with highest level of attention to it. How important is to achieve everything we can achieve and create the absolutely most sophisticated performance we can, because that might be the last time for a long time due to completely uncontrollable circumstances.
We hope you'll join us on the next episode as we delve further into the history and inner workings of the Valley Symphony Orchestra. For more information about tickets and future concerts, please visit valleyorchestra.org. VSO Voices is a production of the Valley Symphony Orchestra. It was produced by Charlie Vella and Angelica Gualberto, and executive produced by Katie Coy. Special thanks to Marvin Eagle, Ruth Cruz, Dr. Peter Dabrowski, Susie McDonald, Kurt Rome, Michelle Crane, Dr. Dalia Gura, and Jan Seal. We close with the first piece performed at the 2021 VSO Gala at the McAllen Performing Arts Center. Soul Bossa Nova was composed by Quincy Jones and performed by the Valley Symphony Orchestra under the direction of Dr. Peter Dabrowski. Enjoy.